for a lot of us that are following the beats on drums, right? Not many people are gonna get it. Very small percentages that actually understand it are are following their own beat and not really not because they don't want to be supportive, but they have to follow their own dreams or their own beats. Hey everybody, we're back. We want to just go ahead and talk about real quick some thoughts as usual. I think I would say the last couple of months here, say year or so, I've been realizing that oftentimes we dictate to ourselves, kind of, whether we're keeping up or whether we're not, right? Fear of missing out, FOMO, whatever they call it, and it's normally usually us, right? It's something that's already stated by society, but we really have a choice of which to follow it or just see it as a benchmark, but not really adhere to it. A good idea, but doesn't mean that it's for you. And I think listen to a lot of, if you know, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks and read a lot of books. Not lately, but normally I would have time. I would try to read books on how they inspire you to follow your own beat, right? Or basically, play your own drums to your own beat in life, and oftentimes it's going to be difficult. And I noticed that you get a lot of pushback. Very rarely anyone really understands your purpose or calling or whatever it is that you have that you feel you must do. And I think those that are on a level where you might want to be or you see them succeeding, they've had to for a long time just follow their own beats, right? Or follow the beats of their own drums, right? As Wayne Dyer says. And along the way you're gonna, see a lot of pushback, maybe some individuals not support. It becomes a lonely road for a lot of us that are following the beats on drums, right? Not many people are gonna get it. Very small percentages that actually understand it are following their own beat and not really not because they don't want to be supportive, but they have to follow their own dreams or their own beat to their own drums, and which causes them to not be so focused on others and be focused on themselves. So most of what I've realized is that most individuals that support you are the ones that are focused on themselves. They're not worried about what you're doing because they're worried about themselves. And most people that are following their own, I would say, their own calling and their own purpose, they're not really worried about others. Whether that be the naysayers, whether that be that they're doing better, whether they're accumulating all these benchmarks that you wish you had. As human nature, I think we do have some type of envy and jealousy, and we're like, wow, what that person might be doing, or that person might be doing some illegal stuff. Like, this is the first thing that comes to your mind, but not necessarily so. Maybe the individuals are doing things, they're following their intuition, and they're following their path, and they are getting well compensated for it. Has nothing to do with something illegal. But growing up in a minority, I would say household, Latino household, whenever somebody would get a new car or a new flashy watch or something, the first thing I remember family members saying was like, "Oh, that person must be doing something illegal," as if there was no other way you can accumulate or be wealthy other than doing illegal stuff, right? And as we've seen, people are right now at the wealthiest they've ever been in different niches. Everybody has their own way. Some people get paid to play video games. A lot of money to play video games. So I don't think it's just one way, right? So I think these things are kind of breaking those chains of thoughts that we had. But what I've realized is that along the way, you're gonna have a lot of pushback. Also, a lot of I would say quiet and lonely times, because it's not like, I would say, like when you work in a company, you guys have coworkers and you settle, you guys hang out, you become best friends, and you guys do, or not guys, but just ladies and gentlemen, whoever your coworkers are, but you go and have fun and discuss topic of work because you guys are all working there, um, which is a common trait, right? But when you're on your own path and on your own thing, it has to be a certain individuals that will be there to kind of join you on that path, and um, and that's where it gets lonely. So I think what I try to do as well, I try to support those that I feel that are doing their own thing, are following their own calling, and I try to support as much as I can because I feel that I know how it feels because I'm one of those. So maybe call me supporting myself along the way, but I know that it gets lonely, and sometimes uh, understanding yourself is not easy, but having people understand you is even harder. And I think through this quarantine that we've been home and stuff like that, I've been trying to just really figure out like where where exactly where is my content leading, right? Where is it heading, and what it was that I was trying to do, and then I realized that my intentions are the same, right? They when I first started, my intentions were the same. It's just to spread light, positivity, encouragement, and hopefully people can learn from some of the books that I've read or tips that I taken away or some of the advice that I've taken away from some of these books, which are golden, right? And changing the way we think in the mental process. I think as human nature, we're kind of wired by the way we were raised, right? Like defensive. I can get defensive sometimes. You get hurt. Somebody comes at you. You want to fight back, or you want to return with a, I would say resentment or revenge. But as we know, that doesn't really lead to anything productive, right? It definitely doesn't lead to anything better. But yet we still fall down to that. We still That's our first initial response. And I think maturity and growth is when your first response is not that. Your first response is understanding, empathetic, and understanding what kind of day that person's having. I'll give you a quick example. Yesterday, we drove around, tried to get some sweets, and I went into one of the spots, and I didn't know they were closing at that time. But apparently they were closing. I didn't know. It was late already. So I walk in, and the person's like obviously seems bothered and flustered, and I still wasn't comfortable with that, right? And I feel like I still have a lot much growth to do, because if I would have been a lot another level, I think I would have taken that individual and I would try to make their day. Maybe give them a great tip, maybe slip in a good tip underneath the receipt, try to brighten up their day. I just really want to get out of there as soon as I could, because I felt like the energy of the individual, they really didn't want me in there. They didn't want anybody in there. They just wanted to go home, and I understood that because I've been in those situations where, you're at your job on a Sunday afternoon. You really don't want to be there, but you have to show up, and then you try to go home early, and customer walks in, and you're like, oh man, I can't go home early, right? Maybe they have family, friends that are waiting for them. Who knows? So I've been there. I've done that. So I kind of have more empathy for that person as well. But I think I still have a lot more growth to do because I wasn't able to make that person, I would say, put a smile on their face. And that is my intentions. Like, try to change, or try to hopefully have people see the good in people as well. Not just that everybody's batting out to get you. Growing up in that environment as myself, I kind of still believe that. I still kind of feel that, some people are going to be, do you wrong anyway, right? And no matter how good you are or how nice you are, I've experienced that, right? And normally those are the closest to you, the ones that are the ones that let you down. And our expectations of others are really, really what I think lets us down. We feel that we expect the best because we give our best, but not always is that the case. So maybe understanding that will help us on the journey. Also, that being okay with the process. And right now with this quarantine, I think what I'm learning is trusting the process, trusting that everything that's here, as I said in my last video, is not random. And around this time last year, I believe around this time it was when I was let go from my job, and it felt also like so weird. It felt like a dream. It felt like I did not expect it, right? Was unexpected. I didn't feel like I did anything wrong to anybody. Try to take care of my, my goal, my position, my job, but still wasn't enough. So now moving fast forward here to this day, we're here in this day, and now all this is happening. It's kind of like a random dream, but maybe it's not. Right? Maybe it has its purpose. We're learning. We're all going to this together now. It was very lonely for the last couple of months for me because everybody was still doing their own thing. Everybody was on their stuff and working and very busy. But now everybody's on a stall, right? So, I think that it's much needed, but at the same time, everything that we look at, everywhere we look at, is teachers, teaching us things. And I think, like I said, that lady yesterday, at the sweet spot store, was my teacher, and I learned that I'm still have a lot of growth to do, and I'm still growing. No matter how much I read, how much I look into, and how much I try to learn about myself, it's an everyday process, and you're never really kind of done with learning about what you truly are. So take your time, trust, patience, and I would say have fun with it, and stay healthy, guys. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Take care.